How's it going? Hello and welcome to the last Sands movies of 2015. Today, we'll be looking at Catch Me If You Can. So it's not a review of a bad movie, by the way. Yep, no MLG euphoric edginess today, no full-on Arnold Schwarzenegger quotes. We've just got a normal movie review of Catch Me If You Can, and I'll be going through this movie and why it's a Christmas movie and why it's also a great film. So sit back and enjoy while I look at Steven Spielberg's Catch Me If You Can.
You're gonna have to catch me.
So in the early 2000s, Steven Spielberg made two of my favourite movies of his, which were Catch Me If You Can and The Terminal. I prefer Catch Me If You Can because it's just such an amazing story, and it's a true story of Frank William Abagnale.
That's Abagnale, not Abagnale, not Abagnale, but Abagnale.
So, without further ado, let's get into the story. It is a true story of a con. Frank William Abagnale actually frauded his way through the United States, taking up all different kinds of big-time jobs, as well as stealing checks throughout all the jobs and getting heaps of money. The money was obviously stolen by the United States, so he was on the run for years, going from job to job, city to city, state to state in the United States to try and get away from the FBI. The main man that was chasing him was Carl Hanratty, an officer of the FBI that was in charge of bank fraud. Agent Carl Hanratty actually does end up developing a relationship with Frank as he chases him all across the United States. And this clip displays it very well.
Well, then tell me this, Barry Allen, Secret Service. How did you know I wouldn't look in your wallet?
The same reason the Yankees always win. Nobody can keep their eyes off the pinstripes.
The Yankees win because they have Mickey Mantle. No one ever bets on the uniform.
You sure about that, Carl?
I'll tell you what I am sure of. You're gonna get caught. One way or another. It's a mathematical fact. It's like Vegas. The house always wins.
Well, Carl, I'm sorry, but I have to go.
You didn't call just to apologize, did you?
What do you mean?
You have no one else to call. Oh. Modern night.
At first glance, anyone would think this isn't a Christmas movie. I mean, it does not look like a Christmas movie. However, all of the key moments of the film take place on Christmas, and they show that throughout the film by actually showing the dates of when he gets caught and when significant moments in his life happens. Although the film was made very well, Frank William Abagnale himself was not pleased with the finished product. I mean, he of course liked it because it was a biography of his whole life. However, it all wasn't 100% facts of his life. Like, the part where he sees his father again twice actually didn't happen, as Frank said he never saw his father again after leaving home. I do get things wrong about this movie, so it might be the time where he saw him at the cafe and had lunch with him. That probably happened. However, the bit where he saw him at the bar when he was a mailman, that didn't happen.
What are you doing here? I came to see you. Then ask me to stop. Then ask me to stop.
We can't stop. Where you going? Come on, Frank, where you going? Where you going? Where you going tonight? Someplace exotic? Where you going tonight? Tahiti, Hawaii?
However, I am going to say something that's going to shock you all, and this is quite shocking coming from me, as I love Leonardo DiCaprio's performance in this, but it does get a little off sometimes. He does kind of go away from the character and become more of himself, and it's a bit awkward and off-putting. He does, of course, hold up for most of the film, and it is incredible to see him act, especially at the end when he gets caught.
Frank, you're under arrest.
Hey, are you hungry? Do you want some beans, Carl? They got the best French beans here.
There's 2 dozen French police officers outside.
Another great scene is when Carl comes face to face with Frank and nearly catches him before Frank runs away pretending to be an agent of the Secret Service. This is the first prime example of trust in the film, and I just love it how Frank runs away and Carl just goes, "I was so close." The theme of trust is of course very big in this film, as at the end of the film, Carl tells him that all the police officers are outside and he's about to get caught. Frank doesn't believe him and then eventually does give in and go outside to see no police officers. But all the cars bank up and you finally see what it means to Frank that he actually told the truth, but also you finally see him get caught. And yeah, it is a really depressing end when he gets caught. You just think, wow, after all that, he's been caught. The main character of the film, the character we're supposed to like, is going to jail. That's horrible. However, the story doesn't end there. If you know Frank William Abagnale's life, that doesn't happen. He goes to prison for a few years, but the FBI does come in and offer him a job at the FBI in check fraud. He has to take up the job as it is the remainder of his sentence doing the job, but he gets to be in the outside world and he does get to live a free life. However, you see him getting ready to dress up as an airline pilot and go off and do the exact same thing again, leading the FBI on a huge chase. However, Carl says, "You'll be back on Monday. I don't care. I know you'll be back at the FBI," and just leaves him. Like, I don't care if we have to chase him again. But then, of course, the best bit, I know there was another best bit, but this is the second best bit. The second best bit of the film is at the tail end when he thinks he's not coming back. He's sure he's not coming back, and then halfway through the day he comes back and helps him with a check. And then at the very end there's text saying that Frank, of course, worked with the FBI for the rest of his life and became a huge part of the FBI's check fraud system. So yeah, Catch Me If You Can is a detailed biography of Frank William Abagnale's life. So what if they do lie about Frank's life a bit more, and so what if he does meet his dad again? They do so well to make the film really great and to make it a detailed biography of Frank William Abagnale's life. I loved the film. I wanted to know so much about Frank after watching it, and I did learn a lot about Frank, and I have seen this movie about 100 times. I do watch it every Christmas, and that's why it is awesome. Catch Me If You Can. You must see it. But I would like to thank all the people that have watched my reviews this year. Even if you've only seen one, even if you disliked a review, I'm still happy that you ended up having the time to watch one, and I'm very grateful for the people that have seen it, and hopefully this channel grows into something big. Who knows, I gotta put a lot more effort into the reviews next year, and I definitely will. So thank you all so much for watching Sam's Movies in 2015. It has been an honor. Thanks very much. This has been Sam's Movies, and I enjoy films like this for your entertainment.
Come fly with me, let's fly away. If you can use some exotic booze, there's a bar in far Bombay. Come fly with me, let's fly away.
Hey, Christopher Walken, you're looking a bit stressed there, bro. You okay? You alright? Never seen that face in one of your movies before.